Hi lovelies, welcome back to another TikTok video. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strand and here is Ballistic Gist. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload a video, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for all the love and support. To those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, you guys are the real MVP. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Alright lovelies, let's get into this video. So guys, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and I thought to share with you guys where this white man was like, oh my goodness, that the black people should stop asking for reparation because the people they were supposed to receive this reparation is long gone. Like, this actually got a lot of people to stitch his video. Like, a lot of black writers also stitch his video. I was able to put up some stitch, from the people that respond to his, shenanigans, guys. I'm just gonna roll it. And by the end of the video, I'll be leaving my own thoughts. Why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think. And do not forget that this channel does not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We are just here for educational purposes. Alright lovelies, let's get into the video.
It's always pay your debts until the topic of reparations comes up. Have we reached such a privileged point in our society that we have to look into history in order to find things to fix rather than fixing problems that are right in front of us? The reason nobody talks about the debts of reparations is because the people who owe the debts are not alive. Now, y'all don't want to say it, but I'll say it because whatever. I'm white, right? But guess what? I don't owe you anything. I never owned anyone. I don't owe you anything. And nobody will say it, but I don't. Nobody is responsible for the crimes of their ancestors. If that's the case, then every single one of us would owe every single one of us something, because throughout history, every single person, regardless of skin color, has been owned.
Bingo. Let me remind you that we live in America. We literally have opportunities here that people are dying for. Does that mean that we shouldn't focus on bettering the system? No, that's not what I'm saying, so don't even try to go there. But if you're a black American and you're living in America and you're focused on getting black people reparations, you've missed it. The boat is gone and you've missed it. All the opportunities there. We do not need reparation. Well, we're owed it, the 50 acres and a mule. What you're talking about is Field Order 15 by General Sherman during the Civil War. And that was in like the southeast part of the country. A bunch of people want to talk about this as if, for one, the government actually did it, meaning Congress. No, it was a wartime order. Second off, it wasn't for all black people. The government does not owe us, and white people do not owe us. The government does not owe us. White people do not owe us. The vast majority of white people were not even slaveholders. You have every opportunity here to go build the life you want to build. Stop letting people tell you you don't have the opportunity. You do. And stop wanting people that never had anything to do with something to pay you for something they never did.
Do me a favor, can y'all both stop acting as though you actually give a shit, like about anything at all, especially black issues? Let's illustrate why you don't care from the beginning.
Have we reached such a privileged point in our society that we have to look into history in order to find things to fix rather than fixing problems that are right in front of us?
What the fuck does this even mean? You're saying that we as a society must be privileged because we're looking to fix things in the past instead of things that are right in front of us, because you don't understand the concept of time or something? Black people as a demographic, let me say that again, as a demographic, are where they are today due to shit that happened in the past. Gay marriage had to be affirmed by the Supreme Court in 2015 due to things that happened to gay people in the past. Reparations, or addressing what happened to the black community on behalf of the United States government and why they're in the positions they are today, and fixing those positions, is addressing something that is right in front of us. Unless you just propose that black people sit and enjoy their disproportionately fucked positions for all of eternity.
The reason nobody talks about the debts of reparations is because the people who owe the debts are not alive. But I'll say it because whatever. I'm white, right? But guess what? I don't owe you anything. I never owned anyone.
For me to assume that anything besides air was circulating up here when you said this is for me to be doing a disservice. And the fact that this is the exact moment in which he decided to clap means that maximum it could have been TV static. Because I know neither of you have actually looked at what reparations is, because you don't care. So you've just chosen to believe that reparations is when white people owe black people money for slavery. Even though if you were to Google something like Nina Turner on reparations, which is the person whose tweet you were fucking responding to, the first link would literally tell you reparations is not about cutting a check, it's about repairing a community. And in the article that Nina Turner literally contributed to, it says this. Read that, because white people can't just do that. It's almost as if we're talking about the United States government. So in other words, no one gives a fuck about you in particular when it comes to this issue. But if you can paint it that way, it makes it a lot easier to not support and just shut your ears off and not pay attention. And if he can frame it like that, it makes him look like the one intelligent, hardworking black person that doesn't need any handouts and is just gonna go get it on his own. Those two things are both profitable to you two when it comes to owning the left. But to real people who are still suffering from the issues that are downstream effects of the things that you guys scoff at, you two are distractions.
I already know I'm gonna get called the R word that ends in cis. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about, because I'm the one that's gonna say I don't owe reparations.
One, remember how I said this isn't about you in particular? Because newsflash, there's no reparations proposal on the table that's being considered that is just white people giving black people money. Again, you could have looked it up and found out that due to violent crime being concentrated in areas that lack community investment, simple things like rehabilitating vacant lots can significantly decrease violence within downtrodden, disproportionately black communities. An analysis of historically redlined areas found that even after adjusting for socio-demographic factors, the same places that were imagined to be areas untrustworthy of economic investment by virtue of the races, ethnicities, and religions of their residents were more likely to be places where violence and violent injury are most common a century later. So you want to know what we could do as a form of reparations? Rebuilding the physical environment in poorer communities. Pause to read. We could work to address income inequality within communities. Pause to read. Even before all that, we could find an actual definition of reparations that has been provided by scholars in order to help us move forward. And then we could find where multiple problems manifest themselves, including school finance, in order to inform us on how to move forward. And then we could hear out a scholarly proposal on how to move forward, what channels we would have to go through, what the program would look like, and what arguments could be made for the constitutionality of it if it were to go into effect. Because you have to actually analyze past problems in order to fucking move forward. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna post the link to this source right here to help you. And I'm going to make it clear to you something that all other scholars on this topic have acknowledged, that reparations would be funded through tax dollars, which everybody pays, but none of it matters because at the end of the day,
I don't owe you anything. And nobody will say it, but I don't. Nobody is responsible for the crimes of their ancestors. If that's the case, then every single one of us would owe every single one of us something, because throughout history, every single person, regardless of skin color, has been owned. They actually think you can't succeed based off of your own merit, and that you need help from everybody else in order to succeed in this country. And isn't it ironic that the people who are saying this are the ones who are the most successful in our country? The ones who are saying that you need reparations to succeed when they didn't need them? It's because they don't believe that you're as capable as they are.
Are you aware how you saying that in the face of everything I just went over says much more about you than me calling you racist ever would? We can skip the fact that the slavery of people who weren't even considered white, I wonder why, has literally nothing to do with the relationship between black and white people in the United States. We can skip the fact that not only is meritocracy a myth, you framing the government correcting course for fucking over people as they're assuming that you can't succeed on merit, again, says a lot more about you than me calling you racist ever would. We can skip you gaslighting by trying to suggest that successful black people who think that we need reparations just believe that you're not as capable as them because they didn't need it. Fails to recognize that both Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King Jr., and Thurgood Marshall were all successful men in their time period, none of whom received reparations, which means that by your logic, due to there being successful black people in every era of black history, there has never been a need for reparations, which is not only dumb on its face, it contradicts your own point about how we don't talk about it because all the people who owe the debts are dead. What debts? There were successful black people back then too. We can skip it all because you've never looked at an actual reparations proposal. We can skip it all because your ignorance on this topic stems from the fact that you feel like reparations is just, well, white people owe black people stuff, when it's never that simple and would never be implemented that way.
If we want skin color to not have any merit on how much you can contribute to society, then we have to stop putting so much emphasis on it.
And herein lies the crux of everything. Because you getting outraged that you as a white person may be held liable and need to owe people something for something that you didn't do, despite the fact that no reparations proposal that are easily Googleable say that or would do that. And while you're outraged, you're simultaneously telling people not to put an emphasis on race anymore, when again, a government helping out a demographic of people that it's fucked over would have no negative racial implications unless you made it, shows exactly why you're not serious. Shows why people who say meritocracy, let's just move along, are as dumb as the open white supremacists. Fuck out of here, bro.
I want to watch the rest of this BS, then y'all could go, he'll be added anyway in this video if y'all want to go watch it on his profile. The last time I checked, has any black person come to your house, Mr. Clarkson, and asked you for money? Has any black person asked you for a check? Has anybody come to you and said you got to sign a check for black people? Because the last time I checked, reparations is from the United States federal government. But, you know, let's spread the misinformation. Let's talk out of our ass. Let's post it on TikTok for other people to see that misinformation. Let's just do that. First of all, reparations is not about cutting a check. It's not only getting what was promised, 40 acres and a mule, but also payment for all of the shit that that our ancestors endured in this country. Y'all love to talk about slavery being the reason why people want reparations, but did y'all forget Jim Crow existed? Did y'all forget that they burnt down cities and towns of black businesses that could be billion-dollar businesses today? We as black people pay taxes in this motherfucking country, and there are still places in this country that we can't even step foot in at a certain time because of people that don't like us. Or what about Japanese people? The Civil Liberties Act of 1988 gave surviving Japanese Americans reparations and a formal apology by President Reagan for their incarceration during World War II. But why you ain't make no video about that? Where that video at on your page? Do those Japanese people need that money? Would they have been fine without that money? Yes. Do they need that money? Probably not. But does that mean that something happened to them and they needed to be compensated for what happened? Yes. And no amount of money in this entire world will be able to right the wrongs of slavery in those 400 years and any of that. No money at all. So there is no monetary value that we can even put on the death and suffering of Black and brown people. But America is one of the only places where everybody likes to rewrite history every single year, act like things don't exist. Germany has been paying Holocaust survivors for 70 years to the tune of $1.4 billion. Do Jewish people need that? Probably not. Would they be perfectly fine without it? Probably. Are they perfectly fine without it? Probably. But Germany is compensating these people for something wrong that they did. And then at the end of your video, you had the audacity to talk about we need to stop putting emphasis on skin color. Well, whoop-de-fucking-do. We would love for that to not be the case. But guess what? People that look like this don't want that to happen. Our skin color is still a big deal to some people in this country, and they are doing everything that they can to make sure that we suffer. What you need to do is take your ass to Starbucks and mind your damn business.
What a beautiful day to wake up in a country that you know was half built, more than half built by your ancestors. Those who were never paid jack shit for their labor. Those who, even after they were liberated, were kept from owning property. Those who were further barred from owning property by redlining, and were further taken advantage of by the free labor in the prison system. It sure is nice to hear all you white folks talk about inheritance and the houses that have been in your family for generations. Houses that have my ancestors' blood spilt all over the land. Good fertilizer. But oh, how could you be at fault for benefiting from inherited stolen wealth? Nah, you don't owe us shit, right?
Like, seriously, lovelies, these people often say that reparation was not supposed to be paid for or whatsoever because the people that actually suffered for this have long gone. Like, this actually happened, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, whatever years ago. But the bone of contention is that these Americans, like American people, has been benefited. They have benefited and they are still benefiting from the suffering of our ancestors. They are still benefiting. Everything that America owns today is a suffering of these forefathers, of these ancestors that their children is still suffering today. Like, the generational wealth that's been acquired by these white Americans is the suffering of the olden days. It's the suffering of the ancestors. So there's no amount of reparation that will be paid that is going to equate to the amount of suffering, humiliation. Do you know what it feels or what it means that a group of individuals, like a group of people, actually went to Africa, then colonize the whole of Africa? Then they decided to, buy or enslave so many Africans by stripping them of all their cultural background whatsoever, then bring them to a strange land. They actually forced these people to change their own language so as to, so as all the slaves will be able to have a particular language they understand, which happens to be this English vernacular of a thing. And after which they forced them to learn this language. They learned the language and started using the language to communicate. And generations to generations, they begin to forget their own background. They forgot everything about their own tradition, about everywhere they come from. Like, there is no amount of preparation that will be paid to equate this level of humiliation. Do you know how it feels to leave your own land, to leave everything about your identity, to sell your own identity, then go to another kind of place, then try to build these people, try to make these people's country to stand the way it is, instead of using such ability in your own country, your own place, but you were not given that opportunity, or because you've been forced out from your own country to go to a strange land, then you begin to make that strange land the way everyone is benefiting right now, but you, the person that actually suffered, was not able to eat the fruits of your labor, then the generation of those people that have suffered is now asking for maybe something that they can hold on to, because they have been stripped of everything that's like the wealth, everything. Like, they are not asking of 18 courts, and you feel that this is just something so big to do, that the people that actually suffered, have died long ago, have been forgotten. Like, what now happens to their generation? Even the wealth you're enjoying today is not by your own power, it's the power of those people that you felt have been forgotten. Like, even the children of those, the generation of those people are still suffering till date. That is why we have a lot of Ray and Sis. The kids are still suffering till date. What are you doing to take away Ray and Sis? What are you doing for the generational wealth? So for those people that you felt that their own generation, those people that have been forgotten, what are you doing to create wealth for their own ancestors that is born today, and the ones that is yet to be unborn? You guys were able to make your own, use these people or their generation or their ancestors to create your own wealth, to create your own generational wealth. That's why till today you guys are still, but these people that actually suffered, that actually went through thick and hand to bring you what you're offering or what you're enjoying today, has nothing to be given to. Like, they are still suffering to today, and you think that you can come online to like, oh my goodness, I am a white person and we don't owe you guys anything, we don't owe, like, how do you even say this? How do you even think about this? How do you actually think about this? And you think that this is just making a lot of sense? Like you don't owe anybody, you owe them, and nobody's actually telling or calling you to come up and bring money from your pocket and give and send it to a black person's account. No, they can actually get this from the government. There nobody's asking money from you. Like, get it off. Like, I don't know, most of all these white people, they just come online to try to like say something that does not even belong, does not even concerns them. Why are you always bringing your own business into black people's business? Like, they are not asking money from you personally. This is something that is ought to be done. A lot of people, Asian people, have already been reparated. So what is it? I don't know why, if everything that has to do with people of color, black people, it's always stories. But if it's not them, oh my goodness, it's been done long ago. Like, seriously, I don't just know. This is how you people keep on taking and taking and taking and taking. You appropriate culture, you take the music, you take everything, and you are not even ashamed to come online and blab how it's none of your business, how it is that nobody's owing. You are, your ancestors, you are fucking owing. You are doing that. You own. The thing you're enjoying today is as a result of the suffering of some people's ancestors. The thing, all the laws, everything you're enjoying today is as a result of it. So this just come online and come and start blabbing. Oh my God, I'm not owing. Like, seriously, come off it. Sometimes if you want to talk or say something, you should just go on research. Check, Google, as in research and see how these people, oh my goodness. Like, seriously, they are the one that work more, but they eat less. They are the one, like, it is so obvious. Even till today, there's still discrimination about people of color. Till today, Ray and Sis still exist, and you're here to talk about how you're not owing anybody anything, any reparations and all of that. Like, seriously? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, when I saw this video, I was like, oh my God, another. Then I am so happy for the response. Then this Mr. Wannabe white, as in this Jeffrey of a guy, like, this guy just getting on my nerves. Like, he just wanna be white so much, and he's not even black American. Like, he's not. He is an immigrant, and he just want to poke nose where his nose is not supposed to. Like, seriously. Guys, wanna just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And do not forget that this channel does not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. So why not share this video, subscribe, and leave your thoughts. If you think that reparation should just be forgotten and should just be, they should just wave it under the carpet and let's just move on, you can just share it in the comment section. And if you feel that it is worth it, you can also share your comments in the section. Share your thoughts in the comments in the section. And I will see you lovelies when I upload my next video. And I wish you guys a happy new year and a prosperous new year ahead of us. Alright, lovelies.